Hello everybody, it is Al Knight, it is Brony time, and welcome back to Let's Play Ace Attorney Investigations. When we last left off, we kind of found Lance. He just kind of came wandering in and passed out. And then we were kicked out again by Agent Lang. And then we returned to investigate the kidnapper's hideout and found out that there may have possibly been a third kidnapper. And then shortly after we finished, Gumshoe came running, saying that they had found the Blue Badger costume. So now we are going to investigate this new discovery. Let's go. What's the costume, Detective Gumshoe? Where's the costume, Detective Gumshoe? Just on the other side of the fountain, sir. Was it out here in the open all along? No, it was discovered in the tall grass back there. We moved it out here in order to examine it more thoroughly. Now let's get down to it. I went to Restorator, expected every little nook and cranny. Well, the first thing that comes out is this pendant right here. What do we have here? Oh, it's another pendant. That's 2 treasures in one day. How lucky is that? And hey, this pretty baby's made of platinum silver too. Another pendant on top of the one we found on Mr. Deacon. Is it possible that these two... Hold it right there! Hands off, Mr. Prosecutor. You sure know how to cross the line, don't you? Ah! A pendant, huh? This is a very decisive piece of evidence. How can you tell? Look here and read off what you see. Lauren? Hey, it's the name that's engraved on this. Aha! We have you now, Miss Kidnapper. No, you don't understand. Lolly, I can't believe you were one of my kidnappers. Lance. You're kidding. Miss Pops was one of the kidnappers? Yes. It was me. I held Lance hostage. So Miss Pops is one of the kidnappers. But even knowing that, I can't call this case solved or over. Hey guys, case closed. Get the car ready, and I mean the special one for this young man. Again, Mr. Prosecutor, what is it this time? Are you proposing that Miss Pops is also the culprit in the murder case? What happened? I thought Officer Meekins was your suspect. We found it. Found what? That officer's gun. He literally dropped it in the middle of a thick patch of grass. Your country's police are a sham. Just look at how careless they are. Who are you calling the sham? The officer's gun didn't show signs of having been fired, so it can't be the murder weapon. So Officer Meekins has been cleared of all charges, I see. And that's when a brand new suspect comes walking onto the scene. The murder only happened because the kidnappers started fighting amongst themselves. As I recall, it was you who said that, right, Mr. Prosecutor? Miss Pops, did you really kill Mr. Deacon? Yes. I killed him. I can't believe it. Thanks for the confession. Objection! Agent Lang, it's much too early to declare this case closed. Look at you, so sure of yourself. We got the culprit's own confession. It's a very incriminating evidence. What more could you ask for? Miss Lauren Pops. Yes? I want to hear it from you. Tell me your side of all that's happened today, from the kidnapping to the murder. But why? I'm the kidnapper and killer. Isn't that enough? It's fine if you're the one behind everything, but only if it is the truth. Now then, will you tell us the truth? Or is there some reason why you can't? I've had a change of heart. I think that Joy's seen you sulk away at the losing mutt. Alright, you heard me. Let's hear about all the evil deeds you committed today. The one who came up with the kidnapping plan was the butler, Mr. Deacon. We knew that we could get rich by holding Lance hostage. Mr. Armano would pay anything to get his son back after all. Everything was going according to plan, but as soon as we got the money, Mr. Deacon turned on me and tried to kill me. There, are you satisfied? You just confessed to her crimes a second time. At least you have the guts to admit what you've done. Can at least respect that much. Miss Pops, is what you said really the truth? Yes, it is. That's the truth. It certainly isn't the whole truth. Because there is something that seems a bit too improbable in a confession.
Hold it!
Why did you believe that? Anyone who knows Mr. Armano would think the same. I bet Lance that old man's greatest treasure. I suppose he would be to a doting father like Mr. Armano. I always figured that was it too, and I was always envious of Lance for it. Oh, because your dad's... I got this pendant from my father, and I believe that as long as I have this, I'll find my father again someday. He'll welcome me into his arms, riding on the back of Pegasus. That pendant, she must truly believe it is to be the wings of Pegasus. Okay. Sorry, I'm thinking hard here. Why do you think he did? I have no idea, but maybe he had planned on doing so from the very beginning. Miss Pops. Wait, Mr. Deacon planned to kill Miss Pops from the very beginning? Is that ever really likely to happen? What should I do? Should I raise an objection? I'm sorry, but I don't think what you just claimed is all that likely. Huh? I don't think Mr. Deacon would have ever been capable of killing you. But why? We were total strangers. It's not uncommon for people to kill each other over money. Miss Pops, you really are clueless, aren't you? What do you mean? You never knew what your role in the kidnapping was, nor do you know who you really are. But I do, and I can show you with this piece of evidence. This proves that Mr. Deacon wouldn't have been able to bring himself to kill Miss Pops.
Take that!
Why are you showing this to me? So what about the pendant? This pair of wings, along with this piece of evidence, shows you who you really are.
Take that!
These two pendants resemble each other, wouldn't you agree? Hey, you're right. They're the same color, and they're even made of the same material. I believe that these two pendants are actually one. Shall we give it a try? Wow, it's totally Pegasus. But why? Why does my pendant match up with Mr. Deacon's? You're a smart lady. I'm sure you can imagine why that might be. What? No, this can't be. So the two make a set, huh? It's just another trinket. It's not as though this changes anything. If you lack imagination, Agent Lang. Very well, I'll show you with this evidence. This evidence that proves the meaning of the Pegasus pendant.
Take that!
Oliver Deacon was just an alias for this man. His real name was Colin Deveray, the name that is etched on the horse pendant. What? An alias? I suppose he had to hide the fact that he was a felon somehow in order to live. And it makes sense given what is written in Mr. Deveray's dossier. But what I really wanted to point out was this. This specific section. His wife...
Take that!
Mr. Deveray had one daughter, and her name is Lauren Pops. That's a lie! That person was not my father! He couldn't come out and tell you he was your father because he was in hiding. However, I believe he was trying to secretly watch over you. Do you still believe that a man like that could kill the daughter he was separated from? Or even that such a man would allow his daughter to get involved in a kidnapping plot? And what is so funny, Agent Lang? You're good at making things up in your head and deciding it's the truth, aren't you? What are you trying to say? Your thinking is much too innocent. After all, I thought of another possibility. Is that so? Well, let's hear it. I'll grant you that the two of them are father and daughter. But isn't it possible that they both knew that fact? It was no coincidence that the reunited pair became involved in the House of Amano. And the two of them made good use of their meetings to plan this little kidnapping. Wouldn't you say my scenario is perfectly probable as well? So this is the version of how things might have been. Don't have any proof that either one didn't know of their true relationship, right? You mean they knowingly committed the kidnapping as father and daughter? That's right, as one really rotten family. Is that really what happened? I'd better take a long, hard look at the evidence. Bam, bam, bam! Too many costumes missing, buddy.
Objection!
This kidnapping wasn't planned by just two people alone. And what kind of proof you have of that? Quite simply, there were 3 kidnappers. 3? 4 costumes were stolen from the Wild Wild West area's back room. We found one of them in the kidnapper's hideout. But as for the other 3, we can assume they were being worn by 3 different people. We also found a set of 3 cups and 3 folding chairs that were used in the hideout. It all clearly points to a 3-man group, and I believe this 3rd person is the real mastermind behind the kidnapping. Who's this mastermind? I present to you the brains behind the kidnapping. It's Lance. I figured...
Take that!
Lance Amano? Yes, this abduction was in fact schemed by Lance himself. Recall what he said when he appeared before us. However, there were 3 kidnappers, which is in direct contradiction to what he said. But I know I only saw 2 people. This guy was being held hostage. It's possible you couldn't see all 3 of them. Ah, yes, about when you were being held. I have my doubts about what happened then. Lance, would you mind telling us what happened while you were being held captive? I really don't remember much anymore. Honest. But if I don't tell you at least something, you won't believe me at all, will you? I was kidnapped yesterday morning. They had me shut in that room, blindfolded the entire time. But the kidnappers suddenly disappeared around the time I heard rain falling outside. My hands were cuffed, but it was a stroke of luck that they left me alone. I made my escape and ran away from that room as fast as I could. Through the underground passageway, I presume. Are you okay? Sorry, I really didn't want to recall that horrible deal, but now you believe me, right? No, not quite. Ah, how can you not? Why do you look at me with icy daggers in your eyes? Because he's a prosecutor, and because they're all like that. I'll have you know, Agent Lang, a prosecutor's eyes are for discerning the truth. And should they be interpreted to be cruel at times, then so be it. There's a sticking point, and that's his testimony. Let's see what he offers up when I push him.
Hold it!
How did you manage to escape? I wanted to just get out of there, but the door leading outside was locked, which is why I had to use the underground passageway to make my escape. I remember our escape to be equally as hard. This is an invaluable piece of testimony. I must let it go unexamined. No. It was definitely unlocked.
Objection!
You say that the door leading out was locked, but was it really? We're talking about the room behind the saloon front, right? Look, I heard that it took quite a few men to get that thing open. Right, Sheena? Oh, that's Sheena. Yes, that's correct. Then take a look at this. What is that? A sword? It's not an especially reliable one if it's broken like that. Allow me to start from the end. My conclusion is that the door was never locked. It was simply held shut by this sword, which was used to jam the handle. Lance, even though your hands were cupped together, you could still use them. If that's the case, then why did you just simply remove the sword and escape? But why didn't I was disoriented. Yes, that's it, I didn't notice it, as if I should accept such a bold-faced lie. You locked yourself in that room because you had to make yourself look like the victim. But you did not, in fact, possess the key to the door. That is why you used the prop sword to improvise and create a prison of your very own. You've been making this guy out to be one of the kidnappers for some time now. And I wonder if you've forgotten something very important along the way. And what would that be? A motive. What else? Do you honestly think that an upright, pure boy like him would hitch up a completely pointless scheme such as kidnapping himself?
Objection!
This proves that Lance did indeed have a motive to commit this crime.
Take that!
To put it simply, Lance has a very urgent need for money. This is hardly your typical love letter. It is, in fact, a collections bill. It appears our upstanding boy has accumulated quite a debt. Isn't that right, Lance? Looks like it's hard to being the son of a rich man, too. As we often have to resort to stealing from your own old man, huh? Alright, I give up. I abducted myself. Lance! It's over, Lolly. In this life, we really are bound to our fates, after all. All I wanted was to go with you to a new town. Somewhere where no one would know us. I wanted us to be well off with that 1 million. But now, that dream is over. Oh, Lance! And you are giving yourself up. Yes, I plan to run away from this world with my Lolly. Oliver even helped us with the plan, but then he had to go and stab us in the back. He turned on you. Maybe he didn't want to split the ransom money, that's my guess. It happened almost right after you made the drop-off. When we were alone, he attacked me all of a sudden. After a brief struggle, I was able to contain him and keep him under control. We left him inside that room as Lolly and I made our escape. We wore different costumes and split up. Lolly left the first in the Blue Badger costume. That would mean the person Officer Meekins saw was Miss Pops. But right then, the old man just had to wake up. I was careless, and he tackled me pretty hard from behind. Then Oliver put on a Bad Badger costume, took the suitcase with $1 million and ran. I contacted Lolly right away and warned her that he had a gun. Then he had no idea that they were related, so I thought that it could only end badly. I still don't believe it. This person was not my father. Because if he was, I just killed my own father. Lolly, then it really was you. That man was not my father, I mean, because at the stadium, there was a badger pulling the suitcase with the 1 million in it. But that badger pointed his gun at me, aiming to shoot me dead. That's why I used the gun I got from Lance. There was a gunshot, the other person crumpled to the ground, and I ran, scared for my life. I think the big picture is finally coming into focus, don't you? Lolly, forgive me. I didn't think it would turn into something so frightening. If only I could have protected you. So Miss Pops, she shot her own dad without even knowing who he really was? If what she says is true, are you saying she's lying? But why would she lie about something like that? What purpose would it serve? You'd be surprised how often people lie without even realizing it themselves, Kay. Huh? What's that supposed to mean? What I mean is listen very carefully to confession one more time and you'll see.
Hold it!
Were you able to clearly see the gun? Yes, I got a very good look at it while it was pointed at me. Oh, Father, why would you try to shoot me? Do you really think a father would shoot his own daughter, Mr. Edgeworth? I don't know. I don't want to believe it myself. My father's left arm was raised with a gun in it. Pointed straight at me. About to die, I thought. Miss Pops. Please calm down and take a deep breath. And then, would you allow me to please hear that last statement one more time? Yes, of course.
Objection!
I have here a dossier on your father. And according to this, your father was right-handed. Ah, then that person pointing a gun at you from atop the stage was not Mr. Deacon. Hold on there, Mr. Prosecutor. I think you need to take a refresher course. The Bad Badger has a model gun attached to his right hand, which is why the only hand he could have held the real gun with was his left. Is it possible that it went down like that? Agent Lang, were you paying attention to what Miss Pops was saying? Then again, I suppose I can't expect someone who has never set foot in a court to catch it. Enough of the smugness. Out with it already. You were the one who started it. Miss Pops told us earlier. According to you, the Bad Badger had a gun in his left hand, which would mean that he was pulling the suitcase with his right hand. Is that correct, Miss Pops? Yes, exactly. And I'm sure it was the Bad Badger. It had those huge sunglasses on its face. But if that's the case, even I can see there is a huge contradiction. Yes, Miss Pops claims to have seen the Bad Badger, and the Bad Badger had both of his hands full. These two pieces of information contradict each other, so one must be wrong. They are both correct. Impossible. That just leaves us with an irresolvable contradiction. Trot's entire statement rests on the fact that she saw his sunglasses and beard. But what if the Bad Badger wasn't wearing pants on his lower half? This proves that there was a way for the Bad Badger to freely use both of his hands.
Take that!
The costumes have two parts to them, a head and the body. Oh, I get it now! The head Miss Pop saw was probably really the head of the Bad Badger. However, it is not possible that the body was that of an entirely different badger. A different badger? Yes, or to put it more bluntly, I believe it was the lower half of this badger. The body of the Bad Badger Miss Pop saw really belonged to this badger. It's the Proto-Badger, isn't it?
Take that!
What? The heck is it? It's the Proto-Badger. It's the Proto-Badger. Yes, and it's a simple matter of process of elimination. Miss Potts was wearing the blue badger's costume, so we can eliminate that one. And the pink badger is of the wrong color, which would have been incredibly obvious. All that is left is the Proto-Badger costume. Miss Potts, who was the one who wore the Proto-Badger costume? That would be Lance.
Not so fast.
Are you saying what I think you are? That Lance Amano donned the Bad Badger's head and pretended to be Mr. Deacon? On top of which he plotted to shoot Miss Pops while wearing that hideous thing? The stage that was set up in the stadium was nothing more than a setup. And its purpose was to lead Miss Pops into believing she had committed murder. Standing there in front of Miss Pops and pretending to be the victim. It was all done so that she could pull the trigger. I have no idea what you're talking about. Why exactly would have I had to do all that, huh? There's but one reason. Lance Amano. You are the real culprit behind the murder of Monster Oliver Deacon. What? No! That's slander. Take it back. You take it back right now. Just out of curiosity, Lance, which is your dominant hand? I'm left-handed. But what does that have to do with anything? It depends. According to Miss Pops, her attacker held a gun in his left hand.
Not so fast.
Ha! Who is what-handed doesn't prove anything. And besides, now you're just being absurd. It's not like the Proto-Badger is bulletproof. One misfire and he would have found himself dead, right?
Objection.
Of course, logically, if he had been shot, he probably wouldn't be here with us. But I believe he had thought of that as well and prepared accordingly. And this should be all the evidence you need. This is how Lance made sure that he wouldn't be hit by a bullet.
Take that.
We found one half of a Bad Badger costume in the hideout. A broken one. It was not the same one that the victim was wearing, plus it was missing something. And that something is the model gun that the Bad Badger carries, which can fire blanks. What? Ms. Pops, where's the gun you use now? I threw it away into the sea. That makes it a bit tough to verify what it was. Although I believe that we can safely assume that it was the model gun in
Not
question.
so fast.
I've heard enough. All you've been spouting so far is pure conjecture. I admit that as long as the model gun is lost to us, I can't prove I'm right. However, I can say that the probability that I am right is very high. Okay, let's pretend that you're right, and that the murder at the stadium was a fabrication. In that case, where do you think the murder really took place, Mr. Prosecutor? I don't know yet. Ha! I knew you were full of it! However, I do believe that the murder took place during an earlier time frame. Wait a second, it's simply not possible, because... Deacon, after he was restrained by Lance, she saw the victim in the state of being restrained. I came back to the hideout long after the other two. By the time Lance had already subdued and restrained Mr. Deacon, he had tied Mr. Deacon securely to the beam in the next door. After that, the two of us put on costumes and made our escape. So Mr. Deacon must have escaped after the two of you left, right? We thought that it'd attract too much attention if we left together, so I left first. We planned to meet up again at the stage in the stadium, but then, as I was walking through the park, I got a call from Lance on my cell phone. Oliver managed to escape. Looked like he was waiting until I was alone. He also stole the gun from me at the time. Then the murder happened. Mr. Deacon must have overheard their plan to meet up at the stage. When Mr. Prosecutor, Miss Pop saw the victim with her own eyes. Which means that the victim was still alive at the time, wouldn't you agree? Why does that sound wrong to me? There must be something amiss about this account. Let's see what happens when I examine it in more detail. And of course, we will rebut this next time on Ace Attorney Investigations. That's right, we've come to an end. I thought we were going to end today, guess I was wrong. But we will get to the end probably next week, most likely, when I'm back to recording. So, until then, thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more time for more content, especially more Ace Attorney Investigations. Also, please make sure to share this video far and wide so we can get as many eyes on the series as possible. I will see you all next time.